Welcome to Heal the Mother Wound. Discover the 3 stages of healing your deepest feminine wound to unleash your sacred medicine and amplify your impact. Welcome. We're just letting people in, and I want to welcome you. Take a moment to get yourself ready to receive. Come on video for those of you who can. This is being recorded. We will be sending the recording out after this call. It's also being broadcast in my personal Facebook group called the Evolving Sisters Network. And this replay will be available after this call for 48 hours. And I want even those of you listening on this replay to know you are included right now. You are here with us right now. We bring you in. There's no time and space. So welcome. Introduce yourself in the chat. We have a beautiful 1 hour planned for us. And I'm gonna add Juanita and to me in the pin so that you can start to see us. You have the views up top of speaker view and gallery view. There will be times that we're going to tune in gallery view, and there'll be times that you'll want to be on speaker view. So just welcome everyone. We had over 1,200 women sign up for this, and I didn't even put Facebook ads. So I'm like so excited to our affiliate partners, for all the women who shared this important event, because it struck a chord. There's something here that wants to happen right now, and you are a part of it. So welcome. We have a few more coming in. Welcome from Belgium. Witnessing you, witnessing what's happening here. There's something really big happening here. Your 64th birthday. All right. Allison's here. Blessings. Shelly, so great to see you. Aparna, namaste. Breathe in a call. And let us bring us here together and begin our call together. Welcome, sisters. Welcome. Thank you for introducing yourself. Right now, you are a part of something evolutionary. As I said earlier, this is not a webinar. This is not a place to passively listen. This is a place to bring your energy. This is a place to bring your love. This is a place to bring your intention and to be in sisterhood together. This is a feminine reclamation. It's happening all over the world, that women like us are getting sparked to heal and bring back the feminine. So let us get present together. Thank you for those of you who are participating on video. We love to see you. We love to feel your presence. We honor those of you who are coming through the replay. You are with us. And so take a moment to chat in this chat box. I'm going to use this chat box a lot. Juanita is going to use this chat box. And we want to start off by asking you, why is it important for you to be here? So type into the chat, it's important for me to be here because, and we'll give you some time to make your declaration. Why is it important for you to be here? It's important for me to be here because, and share why it's important. And I'm going to read a few of them for the replay. Because healing is a priority for me. What I don't heal, I repeat. Ooh. The mother wound is deep. And we're going to see there are layers to this mother wound. Because I want to go deeper in my healing. Witnessing you, I witness like the total badassery that's on this call of like, yeah, let's do it. Let's take it on. I'm a certified leader with Sistership Circle. Yes. It's important for me to be here because I am in service to the mother of us all. Oh. Because community and communication is imperative to healing in a safe place. To join others in healing. Because I need to transmute and heal. Because I've rejected the feminine in me for too long. Amen. Because I'm going to heal childhood trauma. It's important because it's sisters gathering together. Making room for myself and my spirit. Global sisterhood is why it's important for me to be here. Because I need sisters. Yes, we need sisters. I'm just presencing this intention. Now feel into these intentions as I read them, as you read them. Because my birth mom and my birth sister and mom have crossed over and I'm feeling alone. Yeah. Witnessing you. Because we do this together. That's right. I love to weave because there's no way I could come up with all of this. Because I feel the healing the mother wound is the key to the great turning. Ooh, write that down. Because I'm a therapist who wants to heal others with their wounds and heal mine as well. And there are 99 other messages. So I'm going to share the chat with you all afterwards as well. I have to, because this is so important to read why it's important. I came here to reclaim myself. Is there anything, Juanita, that's is striking you at this moment that you want to read in the chat?
Okay. Because it's important for me to be here to heal myself and my children and to be of service to others. That it's always more than just about us.
Right. That's so beautiful. So scroll through, please read these. Together we rise. Thank you.
Collective healing of a collective wound.
You got this. Can you feel the presence already in this room? Can you feel the wisdom that's being woven in this room? So we're going to do an invocation to just start us off. And I have some notes. So when I look down, I'm not looking at my phone. I'm looking at my notes because I want to stay on track for us. I want to share with you how this is going to go so that you can be fully present and stay with us till the end. I love powerful completions. Magic happens in the spaces in between, and we never know when that light is going to pop for us. So we're going to start with an invocation, a prayer, and ask the divine to be here with us. And before we do that, I want to ask, what female ancestor would you like to bring with you into this room? So type the name of that woman in the chat. And we'll read a few of the names. We'll scroll down to the 99 plus. This is super powerful. I think this gets to get included in your book, Juanita. So we have Hazel, we have Rhonda, Nanu Grace. I think I maybe said that wrong. Bessie, Francis, Carmela. Just where you are, and you're on mute, but where you are, say her name out loud. Type it in the chat and say her name out loud. And we welcome those who have crossed over, those ancestors, to be with us here. And I also want to welcome with us Mary Magdalene. She is a part of the work that I do. She is a part of this course, and I will share with you later a little more about that. But she too suffered a huge wound of the feminine, being cut out for thousands of years in a story that she was integral to, that she brought for the healing of humanity. So we bring her into this space as well. So I invite you to shut down your eyes if you'd like to. Place your hands anywhere on your body that would love your healing touch. As we open the space, as we invite the benevolent ancestors in, as we invite the healing frequency of 7 generations behind us and 7 generations in front of us, and we are the conduit of that healing. We invite that presence, that grace, that love. We invite the mystery. And we invite what the Course in Miracles says, that the only thing that really needs to be healed is your perception. So give us the eyes to see. Give us the ears to hear, so that we may be the healing force of love here and now in the great turning. And so be it. So it is. Apo. Let her open your eyes and come back into this room. And for a moment, place yourself on gallery view and take a look at everybody who's here. Just witnessing the sisters who are here. You may not be able to see that on the replay, but you'll be able to see that in our Facebook group. I'm looking at all of you on 11 screens. Welcome. So in a moment, I'm going to introduce Juanita. First, let's say hello to Juanita. Thank you for being here, sister. You have to get yourself off mute.
Yes, thanks for the invitation.
It's so good.
So wonderful to be here with you. Oh my goodness, it's wonderful to see all the faces and to some familiar, some new, but to be in community with each other. You know, I believe that this time has already been promised. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Caitlin.
It's already been promised. Yeah. So I want to share with you something really important. And some of you, this is important because this is what you're up to. You're up to something big, and you need to see how these things manifest. And for those of you on an evolutionary leadership path, this is for you. About a year ago, I morphed my work from the Divine Feminine Summit. And I know many of you from the Divine Feminine Summit, where we activated divine feminine archetypes so that we can align with our purpose and increase our impact and income. And that was wildly successful as we started to source new levels of our power. And then I got a call a year ago to start the Evolving Sisters Network. And I was given a vision. And this vision was exactly what's happening here today, 1 year later. We began in December with a membership. And now today, this is the very first online healing event of the Evolving Sisters Network that will also turn into a course called Many Mothers that I will be sharing with you later today and offering those who want to take the next step with Juanita into. So this was a dream that is now a manifest reality. And the dream was to create a platform, an online platform for women, divine feminine leaders and healers, and women like Juanita to get their gifts, to curate their body of work and get it out into the world. I'm a stand for collaboration, and I'm a stand for the 3 pillars of the Evolving Sisters Network, and that's healing and completing the past, that's stepping into our power and our sovereignty and freeing our voice, And then the third pillar is our evolutionary leadership. If ever there was a time that we need more women leaders, and leadership to me is a different definition than power over. It is the power to step into your authority and the power to influence others in becoming their most full expression of them and remembering that we are spirit having a human experience. And that's what the Evolving Sisters Network stands for. So today is a kickoff and a celebration. And I'm going to give you a gift at the end to apply toward the course that Juanita will be offering us. And so let me introduce Juanita, and then we'll have some discussion with Juanita, and she'll share her genius and her magic around the 3 stages of healing this deepest feminine wound. And then I will share with you about the course. So as I said, stick with us to the end. Our intention is to be on time and also cause and create a powerful transmission and transformation for you. So Juanita, if you go to her website, here's what you're going to see. These 3 words: deep, easy, and fun. So I love the tone that we're setting right here of deep, easy, and fun. Juanita is a spiritual teacher, a guide, a facilitator, and she is dedicated to addressing embedded trauma. She's an author, life coach, medicine woman, storyteller, and over the last 20 years has worked in the areas of healing, initiation, grief, leadership, diversity, and inclusion. And recently she worked with the Kellogg Foundation on a prestigious project. And I see that like she's in all these little nooks and crannies, supporting nonprofit organizations and corporations and institutions learn how to get along and lead. And there was something that Claire Dubois of Tree Sisters said that really spoke to me, and that is a part of I Will Weave Later of how this course came to be. And Claire Dubois has been in my summit. She is the leader. She was the founder of Tree Sisters, or is the founder, and is no longer working with Tree Sisters, but has a very influential online space, and shared about Juanita these words. She said, Juanita is probably the bravest woman I've ever met. She has placed her body and her soul in the gap where the cultural dissociation and abomination of slavery exists. She works to forgive the unforgivable out of existence through her deep presence, her recognition, her grief, her compassion. I know of no one else like her. So with that, I want to bring Juanita Roberson to the stage. Thank you, sister.
Thank you, Kinlan. Oh my goodness. Claire, deep sister friend of mine, one of the things that I so appreciate about her is, when you meet someone who can see you. I remember we were on a panel discussion together, and afterwards she calls me and says, I need to know, what's made a person like you? And then she went through the list of, I know what it takes. I know the sleepless nights. I know the terror. I know the not wanting to be here. I know, and she went down this list, and then she said, I'm standing here with your hand in mine, and I'm not letting go. And that's who Claire's been for me. So what a blessing to hear those words from her. I want to start off with a poem, actually. And it's a poem out of one of my books, The Underground Railroad, A 40-Day Journey to Remembering Soul and Spirit. And it's written by a woman named Timmy Singley. And Timmy lives in Columbus, Ohio, and is a longtime friend. And this is what I think is a good a good poem for what we're up to. It's called The Cloak of Wounds by Timmy Singley. I have been wearing this cloak of wounds, this veil of pain and suffering, passed down from mother to daughter, from sister to brother, from father to son, from grandparent to grandchild. It is this cloak of an ancestral past, sewn carelessly with the wounding words and hints of hurt, stitched half-heartedly with loss and anguish, desperation and rage, tirelessly trimmed with guilt and fear. Today I remove this cloak of wounds, offering this cloak to the water to be washed clean of its fragmented flesh and bloodied bands, offering this cloak to the wind to be blown free of lack and limitations and the ancient dust of illusions, offering this cloak to the fire to be smoked and burned as angered abuse rise to the sky and become the ashes of the past, offering this cloak to the earth to be buried with all the isolation and despair of my people. On this day, I take needle in hand and begin to stitch a new ancestral cloak, a royal robe of power and peace, of undying hope and deep faith. Today, I reach back in time to wind threads of hard-fought freedom with the hand-spun fibers of grace and love. Today, I weave together inspiration, innovation, and imagination with community and cooperation, intermingling wide bands of compassion with golden strands of forgiveness. It is this new ancestral cloak that I wear from this day forward and pass to my grandchildren and their grandchildren and their grandchildren. Today, I will don the new cloak so that our hearts will be healed, so our minds may be cleared as we dance in the shelter of our faith. So my people will be restored, held only by the soul of spirit. So that's from Timmy Singley. I love starting there because to me, it's like, this is what we're up to. We're up to looking at what has gone before and deciding what still works for us and what no longer serves us. You know, I come into this work with more than two, but I'm going to name two assumptions. The first assumption that I come into this with is that we're spiritual beings having a human experience and not the other way around. And I believe, you know, when we hold that instead of we're human beings that sometimes have spiritual experiences, it changes everything. The second assumption that I'll say is that I had a friend who once asked me, what question, if you knew it, would change your life forever? And I said, oh my gosh, I don't know. And so then he says, okay, what question can you live into for 2 to 3 years? And the question that I chose that I've been living into for probably about 8 years now is, what if I really did believe that everything was in divine order? What questions would I ask differently? How would I treat people differently? How would I move through the world differently? And that question has just been growing me and changing me and shifting me. You know, one of the things I think in that question is it's challenged me to really not just say that I believe that everything's in divine order, but how do I live it? You know, what does it mean to live into the things that we say? We say a lot of things, but I always want to know like what it looks like, feels like, sounds like, you know? And so I come in with that. We're going to talk about a little bit in this time we have, you know, an hour is such just a touch, right? And so honoring it as such is the 3 different layers of wounding and healing. One of my teachers, Sabanku Some, West African Burkina Faso, one of the things that she said is that the wounding happens in community, so the healing has to happen there too. And healing and wounding happen on 3 different layers. First, it's the egocentric space. It's the body. It's where we actually meet the world, is where the healing, you know, it's that very personal layer of healing. Then we have the ethnocentric place, which is our stories around our families, our gender, our race, our culture, our churches, our communities. You know, it holds all of that. It's where we actually connect with another. It's where we're in relationship, where we meet each other. And then the third one is the world-centric space. It's the whole of it all. And so often when we go to tend to healing in this culture, in our cultures, is we tend to either want to go to the world-centric or to the ethnocentric. And we tend to often skip the egocentric place, our own personal healing journey. But the thing with that is that growth and healing is transcend and include. So that if you're not healing the egocentric piece and you go straight to the ethnocentric piece or the world-centric piece, you can change behavior for a short period of time, but it won't heal it completely because trauma wants to be healed. And so it'll always float to the surface. And so individually, what happens is it can go underground for a little bit, but then it starts to bubble up, especially as you get healthier and more comfortable, starts to bubble up more and more and more to give us an opportunity to heal it. And it'll just kick all the other stuff out of the door. And so this piece, the question then is like, how do we step into our healing? And I think the quickest way to do it is that our own soul's journey. There's a book called Igniting Inspiration where John Marshall Roberts talks about there's 3 different ways to move something. Mind to mind is, body to body is force. Mind to mind is persuasion, and spirit to spirit is inspiration. And he says, we often want to go to mind. We want to persuade people of something, but that's really pretty hard to do. But when we move into spirit to spirit, it's the quickest way to move something. Because what happens is my soul speaks directly to yours and it commands you to meet me there. And so for me, often when I'm in a room, I'm not trying to bring everybody else with me. I'm just trying to get me in the room because that's what it means to be connected. When we're connected, I don't have to try to heal you. I just have to get me there and work on cleaning up my own story because we can't give what we don't have. I, have been looking at this story, this mother wound story is important to me for lots of reasons. But one is because I have a mother and I am a mother. And those things have shaped me in so many different ways. I'm currently writing a book called Birth by Many Mothers. And it talks about 13 women in my life who've shown up to mother me in some way, shape, or form. Sabang Somé, one of the things that I love that she had said when she was on the earth plane is that she was 7 years old before she realized that she was birthed by one woman and that it was really quite confusing for her because all the women in her village took care of all the children. And so this whole idea that she was birthed from one woman didn't make sense. Well, for me, I think I was probably about 30 years old before I realized that I was birthed by many mothers. There are many women in my life who showed up and gifted me things that I, sometimes didn't know I wanted, or sometimes I wanted it, but I was so busy looking for it from my mother that I didn't even notice that it was happening over here. And so, and they helped me heal some of those pieces that were missing. One of my mentors, Jojo Palmaria, she came and she stayed in my mother-in-law's home, which was close to ours for a while. And she just worked on me healing some of the wounds that I was carrying. And that was during the time that my mother was still on the earth plane. And I often tell her, like, one of the biggest gifts I've gotten is that she mothered me during that time so that I didn't have to expect those things from my mother. And it allowed me the space to heal. And because I got to look at my mother then just as another woman. Like, if she wasn't my mother, would I like her? Was one of the questions that I remember carrying during that time, and I realized some things about my mother that I wasn't appreciating before. Like, my mother was really funny. My mother's really crafty, and those are some things that are in me that I see in my daughter even. And so, I want to to offer a little bit of space and time. I feel like I've said a lot of different things. We have about 15 more minutes for me in this place. So just about 2 or 3 people to hear from you, like, what are some of the questions that you're carrying around the mother wound yourself? And you can put it in the chat or you can raise your hand. Cindy, I see you have your hand raised. You can unmute. There you go.
Thank you, Juanita. What just occurred to me in your sharing about having many mothers who, mother us through our life, not just one, is something I shared with the women at my sister's memorial service. My sister and I, she died of breast cancer this year. We were estranged. We had not spoken for 5 years, but many, many women were in the crowd sharing of their experiences. And the overwhelming sensation that I had was my sister didn't have the space to be my sister because she was creating a community of sisters that would be aunts to her daughters. She had 2 daughters, or has 2 daughters, and they were in their early 20s when she passed. And these women that came to the celebration, I was so pleased that my nieces have so many aunts, so many women that love and take care of them, because their birth aunts, with the exception of me, are no longer living. And it took the pain of not having sisters a little further away from my heart. Thank you.
Thank you. We so think that we get to choose who we are to each other, instead of that our journey is to discover, like, who are we now? Each step of the way, who are we now? And I think that, as we lean into that, like, there's learning and gifts available to us. And so often those stories come up with the people who have those family roles that we think they're supposed to look a particular way. There's a point where I realized that my father's inability to include me, that always, for a long time, was such a hurt that I carried. And I carried that hurt because I thought he was supposed to be something different to me, instead of realizing that his gift to me was that I learned about the importance of inclusion and community from his inability to include me, which actually strengthens how I understand and am able to do this work in the world. Deborah.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for taking my raising my hand and seeing me. So for me, my mom was my best friend, but she was not my mom. She was not mothering. I grew up knowing that she'd always say how many people wanted to watch me and babysit me, and aunts and neighbors and stuff, and how I felt so special with that, until my dad explained that my mom mostly wanted to just be on the go. So I was with all these other people because she loved me, but she didn't want to be like a mom, do the nurturing thing. And that's something that I missed. Now take that forward. I have 6 children. They're all adopted. I am raising my 2 grandchildren. And when you said we all have many mothers, I saw that in retrospect, and I see it today, because my children have birth mothers, had stepmothers, and I am Ma to all my kids, even my grandchildren. So in many ways, I see in the past with the wounds of having many mothers and not having my birth mother there. And I guess maybe in some ways you try and make up for that with your children. But I have to take my place as, again, one of many mothers, but hopefully maybe be able to offer more of the nurturing. So just that phrase, we all have many mothers. Just like I said, it hit me in the past. It hits me for the present.
I think the other thing is that one of my teachers once said to me, sometimes our mother's only job is to bring us to this earth plane. But in a culture, in this very Eurocentric culture that most of us live in, it has this one person is supposed to be the person to do all of this stuff for us that one person can't possibly do or be. Yeah. So thank you. Lorna?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my mom, she didn't see me as separate at all. And she was a narcissist and didn't really know how to nurture. I actually don't remember her ever saying a kind word to me. I mean, she didn't beat me, but she was so critical. And what's happened is that I have taken in her voice into myself, and it's as if I don't see myself. So it's quite a deep wound. And she also scares me somehow because she came on as so big that I've done a lot of therapy, and you all know what I'm talking about. I've tried so many things, and my mom hasn't come up much in that. It's almost like I'm afraid to broach the subject, shall we say? Yeah. And my mom also, like someone else said, she treated me as her friend, not her daughter. So she took me to visit my brother in these awful snake pits of mental institutions where he was when I was really little. And I left my body. I mean, I was 6 or 8. I couldn't handle it. But she needed me as her friend, but I wasn't her daughter. Anyway, I'll stop. Thank you for listening.
You're welcome. My parents were 15 when I was born. And so I think what so often happens is like I talk about at 15, of course, my parents didn't know how to be parents. They're 15. And so what happened is as a child, because we just soak up our parents, there's a belief that until you're 7, you're not rooted here. So all your stuff is your parents' stuff, and that, so what I learned was how to carry their pain. And what happens is unconsciously we get really resentful of having to do that. And so having to, go back, I'm grateful for, like I said, Jojo Pa mothering me and allowing me that space to forgive my mother, because when my mother transitioned out of this world, there wasn't anything that I hadn't said to her that I needed to say. I didn't have that kind of regret. Veronica?
Hi.
Hi.
Is that me? Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Juanita.
Hi.
I've never had a sister, so suddenly I have so many. I'm confused. Yeah. It's more like, not like a question, it's more like awareness. It's my observations that we women, like I'm a mother myself, and I take care of my mother now for the last couple of years as she was diagnosed with dementia. And like having this experience, when she was diagnosed, I didn't know what's happening. Now I'm a therapist myself. And with the experience taking care of her, I've learned a lot. And I had a car accident myself in 2019. And that was like a hit point for me. It was like everything my life was turned around, But what I'm thinking is that we mothers, we women, we are not just playing the role of a mother. We're playing a role of many: a woman, a wife, a mother, a friend, a sister, whoever. And very often we do forget to take care of ourselves. And when we forget to take care of ourselves, that's where I see my mother. You know, she never, ever had time, or she never found the time to take care of herself. She was always working hard, taking care of the family and other people, but not herself. So that's my observations. And I just wanted to kind of raise awareness for women, for mothers, to do take care of ourselves.
Yeah, thank you. I go back to what I said a little bit earlier too, that we can't give what we don't have. And so often, you know, we're trying to be loving and caring, and we're not giving that because we're not giving it to ourselves. I always say in this culture where we want to love thy neighbor as thyself, the problem is most of us don't love ourselves. And so then we don't have it to give to another. Yeah. Wendy?
Thank you. I was wondering if I can ask you a question about the course.
Yeah. We'll
Okay,
talk
so
about it in a little bit, but sure.
okay. I'm been, you know, huge history of abuse, physical, sexual, emotional, all that. I've been working on my dad around that for decades, feeling very complete with that. And then, but there's this, what I'm interested in addressing is the fear that I have of actually addressing the mother wound and the stories that we have in our family about our mother, and the stories that I carry about my mother. And my parents were also, my mom was 15 when she had me as well. So I'm wondering if there's going to be space for that, and just the resistance I feel inside of myself to being soft with her. You know, it really takes, I mean, I feel, I can feel embarrassed or ashamed about it, but the truth is I don't want to be soft with her right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if those two things go together. So I'm wondering if there's space in there.
Yeah, so we're together, we meet 4 times, and which really, I say in some ways is really 3 weeks because in between. And so it's kind of, even though it's 4 times that we're meeting, and there will be some time to talk about what is the old story and what's the new story we want to take on. I have the question, I guess, for you is, are you ready to let go of the story, number one? Because we get to choose in some way, shape, or form, right? And then the second one is, this is what I tell a lot of my coaching clients, is as long as we're holding on to, you know, I don't know if I want to forgive that person or whatever, they're still holding the power. The center of gravity is with them instead of with you. And so the healing is about moving the center of gravity from them to you. And, you know, then you're able to, when it's really on you, you're able to just speak and be expressed, and you don't abandon yourself in her presence or in the conversations around her, you know, and it's not attached to what happens in that space either, I would say. And then one more, actually, Tracy, but if you could make it quick because I'm squeezing you in.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Yes, my thing is just really, I've done all my trauma work, my healing work, but today when I listened to your the piece online about the mother wound, I realized something that I hadn't realized, which was my sister was actually very like my mother and my mother-in-law, which I've never seen that coming. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. As we, you know, go into conversations about what we're going to, this journey that we're inviting you in together, I'm just really excited about it because, you know, I think that the healing the mother wound is actually what helps us to grow up. In Robert Bly's book, Iron John, he says that men have to have two births, one by a female mother and one by a male mother, a nurturing man. It's through the feminine that we grow up. And so I think just like that for us and as women in growing up, we have to have two births, one by a female mother and the other by a female mother. And so this piece about what helps birth us into our own grown ass self is what I often will speak to. All right, Kenlyn.
All right. I mean, I'm just looking at the chat. There's so much here, and we're in this realm of completion. And I think that what we get to take away is that this is big. It's got its tentacles in so many aspects of our lives. And many of you, the stories what we've heard so far shows us that it reveals itself in different ways. Everyone has their own canvas upon which their lives have been painted and their own mother's story. And so our job gets to be to meet ourselves where we are in our story and create a new one. And so we came up with this course called Many Mothers. And this is my opportunity to invite you to come home. It's really a homecoming. Because as Juanita said, that the first most foundational work with the mother is about ourselves. And then the 3 layers, we layer on top of it our lineage, our daughters, and then we layer on top of it the bigger picture of the patriarchy and healing ourselves out of the separation that has caused us to forget our power. And that's really why I wanted to talk into that before I spoke a little bit more about the course, and Juanita and I will talk about the course Many Mothers. But the reason why this caught me so off guard when Juanita and I started talking about her producing something for the Evolving Sisters Network, and then it emerged that it would be a mother course. And I realized that while I personally have pretty much a PhD in mother wounding and in healing the mother wound, and who else has a PhD in the mother wound? I realized after speaking with Juanita and preparing this course, that I could never teach this course. And the reason why she emerged to teach this course is because there's something very fundamental that I am missing. And that's because I'm white. I grew up in the patriarchal structure that already had me disown the feminine. The patriarchy is already inside me. And so while I did the mother wound healing that restored me to my sense of self, and Lorna, believe me, I heard that internalized mother in my own head that tried to cut me off at my knees of even building the Evolving Sisters Network. Who are you to do this? You're not good enough. Who are you to be seen? Who are you to claim space on earth? I know those voices. And that has been part of my healing journey. But what I didn't know is that I felt disenfranchised from the entire family of life. I did not feel like life had my back. As much as I wanted to, as part of my spiritual journey, it wasn't until I was speaking with Juanita about Many Mothers that I realized that she carries the codes of something that is not lost in her being. The codes of the connection to the original family, to the original belonging. And she doesn't talk about it like that. I just knew I was receiving that. And so in her presence, I feel like I got my Many Mothers course in preparing this course with her. That now I feel restored to a sense of belonging and a family of being, of which we are all a part of. You know, remember, we were one peoples. We were one community. And then the storyline goes in the direction that it goes. And here we find ourselves now, with the chance to restore ourselves, our heart selves, to the family of life. And so with that, I offer you an opportunity that's pretty much a rare opportunity, since Juanita's work is usually inside institutions or with her own leadership group that costs thousands of dollars. We have an opportunity here to step into a 4-week course with Juanita on many mothers, and we call it Healing the Mother Wound and Beyond. It's about reframing that story to see something new that allows the shackles to fall off your heart space, your body, your throat, so that you can actually live as you during this once in a lifetime journey as you on planet Earth. So these 4 weeks will happen in September. They'll start the first Tuesday in September, and it'll be at 12 noon my time. So the same time you jumped onto this call, and it will go for 2 hours. And it'll start the 5th of September, then the 12th and this 19th and the 26th. All of them will be recorded. You'll have access to a portal where the replays and some meditations and some handouts are already located. And as soon as you join, you get a welcome letter. And then we have a Facebook group set up where we're already in, and we get to welcome you into it. And because this is the kickoff of the Evolving Sisters Network and just the little baby that we are right now, and we will grow and become bigger, we want to give you a gift. And that gift is a gift of $200 off of the original investment of the course, which is $497. So the course is $497. And our $200 gift will make this course $297. And that's something we want to give you for the next 48 hours as a thank you for being here and for being willing to be the one who stands in the fire and transmutes this wound. I really believe that together we can do this. So Juanita, why don't you share a little bit about what will be inside the course? What are the 4 weeks made up of? You got to come off of mute. And then Isabel's going to drop the link inside the chat. Thank you. Okay, Juanita, can you come off of mute? You cannot. Okay,
Thank
there.
you. It wouldn't let me unmute myself. So it's a journey that we're taking together, and one of the things that I love about spiritual journeys is there's space for spirit to show up and for it to be what it already wants to be. But that doesn't mean we don't have a path planned. And the path is we start off in talking about, so what is our story? What are those different layers, the egocentric, the personal, the communal, and the global that has fed into our stories? So we can start to identify like the different parts. I heard a couple people say, oh, I didn't include my sister in that story. How does that play out? How do we play out with each other? For me, part of my mother's story is I know some people in their growth and development of their own mother have needed me to be their villain. And that's okay. I can be in service in that way too, right? And I don't have to be caught up in that, right? And so we start off with just naming our story. What is the story that I'm carrying? How did I get here? What are the different components that feed into that? And then we go into, so is that the story that you still want? Does that story still serve you? Because it may be you name your story and you decide you really like that story and you don't want to change it, and that's okay too, because we get to choose. And if we're choosing a new story, then what's the new story you want to grab a hold of? How might this new story shift and change and support you? And then we get to do some ritual around that and the release of it. And then celebration. Celebration is so important. You know, this piece around how do we take on our growth journeys as really stretching and growing and not just another way to beat up on ourselves. I have a friend, Barbara McAfee, who wrote a song, and one of the lines in the song, I told her when I first heard it, I screamed out loud, was, what if all my efforts in self-improvement is just self-hatred in a fancy dress? Yeah. You know, it's like, okay, I can't, like, you know, this piece with that is, oh my goodness, let's not take on our growth and development as another tool to beat up ourselves. How do we do this work in a deep, fun, and easy way? Deep heart and meaning, that it's fun. We enjoy the journey. Just because it's deep doesn't mean it can't be fun. We enjoy the journey and who we're journeying with. And then ease, there should be a flow. Now, that's how I know that the spiritual breadcrumb should start to show up and know when spirit is present. And so that's that for me is the journey. It's that, and each of us coming in will hold different pieces of it. So it's not just about me holding these different pieces. It's not I'll present some things and share some things, and you have to decide what pieces work for you and what pieces don't. Yeah. So that's what I would say, Kinlin, about the journey that I think is at least my idea of where we're going together.
Leah says she just signed up. She'll rework her work schedule. That's exactly, that's leadership right there. Like, you know what? I'm handling it. I'm the leader of my life. I'm doing it.
And
Yeah.
I want to say one more thing I'll squeeze in here because I'm an integral theory girl, is that there's this concept of karma and creativity, that in every moment exists both. And so karma is everything that has gone before exists in this very moment. And then creativity means that in any moment, you can jump the track and create a new groove in the universe.
Yes.
But every time we do something, it creates a groove in the universe that makes it easier to happen again and again and again. And so not just easier for us, but easier for other people to step into that groove too. I think about it like as sledding down a hill, right? You do that path and it becomes deeper and deeper and deeper. But you can jump a new one. Of course, the old one's still pretty easy to fall back into. And so we have to set up then patterns that we do to help support us stay in that new groove. And that's some of what we'll be doing as well.
Yeah. And sisters, support structure.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of questions here and I'm going to get to them. I want to show you a couple things before we complete. And then after, if you can stay on after, we'll answer your questions. But I'm going to screen share because I think that this may come up. We've got the link. Isabel, if you can drop the link again inside the chat. So if it got buried, but can you see right now? Give me a thumbs up if you can see the website. This is evolvingsisters.com/many-mothers-course/. And if you go down to the bottom, I want to show you what the enrollment form looks like. So it says pay in full at $497. And that's a screaming deal. And you might say to yourself, but I thought you said you're going to give us $200 off. And I am. So what you get to do, if you take action in the next 48 hours, you click this yes button and you get to see, can you see the order form? Give me a thumbs up if you can see the order form. Yep. Okay. Thank you. And it says $297. It's already populated. So there's nothing you have to do. This will be available during the next 48 hours as this replay will be available. And if you miss that window and you still want to jump in, no worries, jump in. $497 is epic.
So Kinlin, what does it look like if they do the payments? Can they do the payments for the 200 off too? Or is it just?
That's a great, thank you for presencing that. The payments are separate for the price in full. So this $200 is for only the pay in full. So in the next 48 hours plus pay in full, that's where the 200 is applied. If you'd like to make payments, then that kicks in when the 497 kicks in and you can make payments at that point. So a couple people asked, and we're going to complete. So stay on and let us all complete together, because there's another question we want to ask, and we want to seal this with our dedication to the merits. But someone did ask, will there be replays so that if I work, can I join the replays? There are replays. Juanita, how will that work? We know we have a Facebook group where they can stay in touch with you. Any advice you want to give on that?
I think, like you said, we'll have replays and we'll post them so you can experience them. The replays will mostly be me and our groups and our whole group conversations. There will be some breakout group that'll happen. The replays are only, of course, available for those who are in the workshop with us, to catch up and be with us for the next round.
Okay, great. So let us move back into our healing space as we complete. We're in this healing space, but let us touch in with our hearts as we complete this time together. And I want to end with a similar question as we started. Why was it important that you were here today? So type into the chat, why was it important? Now that you know what you know, now that you've heard what you heard, now that what you experienced, why was it important that you were here today? And if that's too long of a story, what gift are you leaving this event with? What gift are you leaving this event with? And you can put that into the chat. To step into my power fully and completely. And so we're having some people are having some technical issues, so I'm going to ask Isabel to just put the link there again. Thank you all for being here. To give me a new path forward. Here it comes through. Give me a new path forward. And one embodied share with others. I need to understand more about the mother wound. And some people asked also about all the ways the mother wound shows up, and that will be part of this course. There's only so much we can do in an hour, but we've seeded so much transformation. We've come together as a community. Sometimes our mother's only job is to bring us to this earthly plane. That could be true for me and how I mother my children. So take a look at these comments of what are you bringing? Releasing depression. That's huge. And your gift is considering the question of who you are as a many mother. So I'm going to bring us into a closing space. Can you hear the music? Tell me if you can hear the music. No, you can't. You can? Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, because I want to end as we started. I want to end connected to our heart, connected to each one of us. So for those of you who are here still or listening on the replay, I invite you to close your eyes. And in your mind's eye, see every single woman surrounding the planet, Mother Gaia, holding hands. Imagine us as a ring of light, a ring of love around Mother Gaia. Imagine our incarnation when we said, yes, I will come here and I will play the role of daughter to that mother and mother to that daughter and many mother to those children. Feel into your sacred contract. your sacred contract with yourself, your sacred contract with others, your sacred contract with Gaia, your sacred contract with your sisters. And for this point in time that you said, I would be here in human form. Just feel that, radiate that love and that light. See for yourself that light in and through your entire body. Out your hands and to the sisters whose hands you're holding, and to the planet we are all holding together. Just thank Mary Magdalene, many mothers, all of our many mothers for this journey here. And as we gather all the positive energy that we have generated in this session, let us dedicate it to the merits. May all beings benefit from the merits of our efforts. Bring your hands together in a little prayer pose and take a bow into the center. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. It's been beautiful to have you here. This is just one of so much more that's available. I'm looking forward to seeing you in many mothers. And if you'd like to stay afterwards, we'll have some more Q&A, but we want to let those go who are on a time schedule. Anything you'd like to say, Juanita, as we end?
Thank you.
And we are complete.